gitanos, no hay quien las dé como ellos. Los gitanos sí tienen sabor, y los gitanos sí tienen sabor. Cuando cantan sus canciones y tocan palmadas a la madre patria, ay, los gitanos le dan el sabor. Y los gitanos...
Saying that. So I started practicing my Spanish. And then it was announced that Bad Bunny was doing the Super Bowl. And I was like, this is cute. This is cute. And then also, the way the world is set up right now, which is very strange, people are they're weaponizing people who are multilingual, especially people who have a Latin ethnic background. And it's just weird. And so rather than be fearful about being a Spanish speaker or worried about what the wackadoodles are up to, I decided to lean into that. And I was like, well, I don't really know any Bad Bunny songs, but I can practice my Spanish and get cuter. And then it was interesting. My sister and I were having a conversation about that. And I was saying, oh, is there like a Spanish club? And there really isn't. I mean, I know that there is. There's meetups everywhere. But my intention was to create one and create the environment, something that I want to create a community around people who want to learn language, who want to practice with each other, who want to learn about the cultures, and who want to also plan trips together so that we can practice in real places. And then also, because we're going on trips together, to make sure that we feel and look our best. So there's sort of a trifecta here in Club Start People. The one element is to learn the language, and we're dedicating an entire year. Well, the way the Pimsleur programs are set up, they're 5 months. They're in 30-day increments. You practice 30 minutes per day, every day for 30 days, and then you will have completed Spanish 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bad Bunny's concert and the Super Bowl halftime is in 4 months. So we will not have completed the whole 5-month program by the time the Super Bowl happens, but we will have established a general understanding of the language. So my thought process was, we meet every Wednesday for Spanish Club from tentatively 6 to 8, because I said this is new. I am about the vibe of seeing where it goes. Like, if this is the first day, like this is the intro session. So if we gather enough people, 10, 15, 20, 2,500, whatever it's going to be, that's why I'm doing these initial sessions live on all of the socials, just to see who's interested. And then if it makes sense, we can, once we have sort of an established group who are really dedicated to doing this, we can bring it to a more private situation. But for right now, I'm broadcasting wide to see who's interested. So the first part of this is learning Spanish. I'm working on a Pimsleur affiliation so that we can get discounts if you want to use that program. But if you have another Spanish language program that you want to use for yourself, or you already have one and you just fell off like I did with French, and whatever, we're not going to meet about that. That minutia is up to you. How you want to learn the language is up to you. My suggestion is Pimsleur because that's what I'm using, but you can use whatever works for you. The second part of this is fitness, and I chose an Afro Latina Masi Arias, who has True Training. I am an affiliate with Masi, and I am doing the booty workout, the 5-day 60. It's 5 days a week, upper body and lower body, and it's a 60-day program that we will do over and over. But you can use whatever training program works for you. The rules really are you working out 5 days a week. That could be walking. That I'm doing the weight training, resistance training. You can literally do whatever you want to do. Then the third part of this is food and practicing and immersing ourselves in cooking. So on Sundays around the same time, from 6 to 8, we're doing a Club Star People Sunday dinner, where we will be learning a recipe. And I am actually going to post the recipe. I'm gonna post a recipe. And it is a Puerto Rican recipe, because we're starting with Puerto Rico, a traditional Puerto Rican recipe. I'm going to be plant-basing it. I found a gorgeous website that has Puerto Rican dishes that are plant-based. You can do it any way you want. I'm just going to tell you what we're working on so that you can go get the ingredients on when, you're going to find out what the recipe is on Wednesday so you can get the ingredients. So on Sunday, we'll be cooking it together. And I'm doing it old school. Like we have the ingredients, we work together, and we prepare this thing together. I'm on StreamYard right now. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to make it interactive, but like I said, this is a work in progress. We're just gonna vibe. We're gonna see how it works. I didn't want to do Zoom straight away because I wanted to cast the net wide on socials to see who's interested. And I know once we get going and we get into a rhythm, more and more people are going to be interested in joining. And like I said, we can make the group more private once we have an established group of people. It's up to you. So that's the trifecta. We are practicing our Spanish every day. We are working out every day. Those things are individual, but we come together on Wednesday. And Spanish Club on Wednesday is about not only holding ourselves accountable. How's your week going? How are things with you? That's where the chat is going to be valuable. I'm going to invite people who are native Spanish speakers, people who are well-versed in Puerto Rico to teach us things. Once a month, we're going to get a book, an Afro-Boricuen book, and it's going to be part of our book club. So the idea is that we are going to immerse ourselves in Puerto Rican culture. Thank you, sir. We're going to immerse ourselves in Puerto Rican culture, Afro-Boricuen culture, most of all. We're going to be reading. We're going to be learning things. I'm going to be bringing guests, something every week. Here.
Ay, los gitanos sí tienen sabor, con las palmadas le dan su sabor. ¿Y qué palmadas son las que dan los gitanos? No hay quien las dé como...
It's muted. I've been talking this whole time and my mic has been muted. Okay. All right. My mic is no longer muted. Welcome to Sunday dinner. I was saying before I realized I was muted that if you are not familiar with me, my name is Emily McKee. I'm a 20-year broadcaster. I host a show on WURD in Philadelphia, the only Black woman-owned radio station in the area. I personally do not live in Philadelphia in the area anymore, but that doesn't keep me from being able to use the technology that I have access to. And as you probably, if you're watching the video that I posted, this is Sunday dinner. That video was from the very first club meeting that we did, where I'm just explaining where we were at the time as far as what Club Star People is. Club Star People is a fitness, language, and travel club. I think the language is primary, so I should probably say language, fitness, and travel, because we're not at the travel yet. We still at the language part. And by the way, how are you doing with your language? Are you practicing? I'm gonna be honest. I fell off a little bit, but I'm far enough along that I'm not behind. And so I'm telling you, I'm disclosing that information for you. So in case life has been lifing for you as it has been for me, you do not feel a way like you can't. Life is life, and we are grown. That's the whole point of this. This is a grown club. This is for grown people who have grown adult lives. Hold that thought. And anyway, but we are making space. That's the whole point of doing this. And when you do anything new, when you start anything new, you have to create space. And there are things in your current life that seem like they are the most important that you're going to have to shift around, and you're going to have to prioritize that which is important for you. And I extend myself grace because I understand that my life is doing what my life is doing. And this is also a priority for me. That's why I show up here on the lives every Wednesday for Spanish club meeting, and every Sunday for Sunday dinner. And this is Sunday dinner, where I and you, if you want to, get to prepare a Afro-Latinidad diasporic meal. And this evening, I am preparing Quimbombó, which is essentially, I'm preparing the Cubano version. I just learned, I am today years old, that there's another version that is like beefsteak tomato based. It still has meat in it, but I feel like if I had known that was a version, I would have chosen that one. I think that's the Puerto Rican version. I'm not sure. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. We're making the Cubano. We made mofongo last week, which is Puerto Rican fufu. And child, it was delicious. I made kind of on the fly. Well, I initially decided I was going to do it. And then I decided, because the mofongo was beating my whole tail, woo, child, took me through it. And because you have to, I had a little not appropriate mortar and pestle. And she and I had a spice version of what I needed a grown person version for. I guess that's the stars that I took that. And so I had a time until I decided that I was going to use my blender. And I was like, don't y'all come for me. And I told my friend Boomy, I was like, don't y'all come for me. And she's like, girl, and she's Nigerian. She's like, we use blenders. She said, fufu is time consuming. So I feel redeemed that in real time, you saw my brain working like how our ancestors and, well, I'll say our forebears, how folks say, oh, the technology is here. I do not have to use the time consuming things. Although I'm glad that I had the experience because, and if I had anybody, if I had any kind of producer in here, I would be able to show you a clip of me going off the rails with the mofongo. I took an entire, let me bring it back. So what I ended up doing was, because mofongo had taking me places I did not think I was going to be able to go, and I'd taken pretty much the whole time. We're here technically from 6 to 8, and I wasn't going to make the hearts of palm stew. That's like give you crab stew, but I ended up making it, and it was delicious. That mofongo and that hearts of palm stew, honey, it was fabulous. I was eating it for like 2 days. So this week, I think it's only fair that we take it to Cuba, not Cuba. I don't know if that's how they say it. Cuba. So what I am doing right now, I'm chopping up some peppers. I found 11 different recipes for Quimbombó, which is like, did I say it was okra stew? I don't remember if I said that. But Quimbombó is essentially okra stew. And the recipes that I found all have some take on, yes, we understand that that Quimbombó originated in West Africa and was brought along, just like how mofongo was brought along with the human trafficked humans of the African diaspora. And they were like, oh, you can take us away from where we from, but you cannot take our food away from us. So they just used the ingredients they had available on the islands, and they made a version of their traditional dishes. And when I tell you I love that, it was my honor to be able to experience the being able to use a raggedy. It's not raggedy because it's marble, but they use wooden ones and big giant ones, or bigger than the one I had to do that kind of work. So I just worked twice as hard to end up using the blender anyway. It was a process. So Quimbombó is a okra stew, and I got okra, frozen okra. This was really frozen, from the supermarket, and I'm soaking my okra in, it already got the slimes out. Oh, awesome. I'm soaking my okra in some lime juice, and I also used some of I had olives, some jalapeno olives, but I ate all the olives, and I just had kind of like the vinegar that it's in, the brine, so I put some of that in there too. Hopefully it will do something. Quimbombó, I'm gonna get the recipe. Hold on. Ugh. How are you doing? Prayerfully, you're doing well. So Quimbombó Cubano is a traditional Cuban okra stew. Its origin is from Africa, like maybe many Cuban classics. This recipe varies depending on who is cooking it. Pieces of pork, chicken, or beef can be added. Un chorrito de vinegar is a must para que quitar el baboso. Fufu de plátano, bolitas is usually added, but I just added sliced plants. So essentially what that said, I think, is that there's something about vinegar to put in the okra to keep it from being slimy. That's what I'm getting. I said vinegar. Anyway, and the fufu de plátano. So they basically make mofongo, which is what I made last week. So they grind up and they make dumplings to go in the soup. So they do the fufu, not fufu. They do the mofongo, and they make the little balls, and they put it in the soup. But most folk, because of the laborious nature of making mofongo, I'm not going to say most folk. I'm just going to say this is what I've seen. Folk just get the sliced plantain for this. And so what I decided is that's what I'm going to do also. The other thing, in the spirit of cowboy cooking, I am a firm believer that use the ingredients that you have. Use the ingredients that you have access to. I went to the supermarket and I was looking for like a sausage, like a vegan sausage. And them Johns was like $8, $9. Like I was like, no, not for something to use for one dish. Ah! Wait a minute. And I'm clear. I'm not clear if it's because of tariffs or whatever the case, but I am clear that false food, lab grown food, no, nope. I'm not. I don't really eat prepackaged food. I like to use ingredients that are whole and minimally processed. So I will find something in the range. Every now and again, I'm not even gonna call it a special treat because I consider that like junk food. If there's something that I feel like I'm not going to be able to get close, then I will do the junk food vis-a-vis the quote unquote vegan meats. But I really do not. I don't even do vegan butter. And y'all can come for me if you want. Since they did that raggedy thing to Miyoko, and Miyoko's was the best butter because Miyoko herself is a chef and she made it with real ingredients. That stuff that you get in the store, no, I will not. So I usually just use coconut oil, or it's a fat, so I just use coconut oil or olive oil or some such. So saying that, there are lots of ways that you can divest from corporations just by not using their products, just by finding the closest alternative. And you're also doing yourself a service because you're eating real food. You see what I did there? So rather than use that sausage, and there's no point in telling you what brand I was looking at. I was just finding a spicy sausage. I decided that I was going to use mushrooms. And I am fairly clear that mushrooms are not anywhere near any, but it does have a meaty texture. So like I said, in the spirit of cowboy cooking, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get the flavors, but because I don't know what this tastes like the last time. But I do know food, and I've made some Cuban things, and I have an idea of the. I'm not even gonna go with that. I'm not even gonna go with that. I would say I have an idea, but I have no idea. So we're still going to vibe. So as I mentioned, Quimbombó Cubano is a traditional Cuban okra stew. I told you that I have my okra soaking in vinegar. I used, and I might actually put some more vinegar in there, and some lime juice for that flavor. And this is one of those stews that everybody makes it different. This is one of them survival foods where you use what you have access to, from what I understand. This is telling me to brown the pork chunks, which I don't have. So I'm going to brown my mushrooms in some olive oil, because that is something that is used on, especially in Puerto Rico. I'm going to brown that. And I was trying to find some more information about Quimbombó. If you have some, okay, hi Bernard. Hey, I'm making Quimbombó, Dawood. Yes. Okay, so how do you make this not do that? Okay, so I'm going to turn this up so this oil gets warm, and then so I have a right behind me. You can't see it, and I'm kind of glad because I have a hutch that has a record player, And one of my visions for this is that I have, because my dad and my Uncle Bob both gifted me a vast collection of records. And a lot of them are Afro-Cuban, just name it. And I have it in storage. And so one of the things I'm interested in doing is creating, like having a vibe, whereas you can hear the music playing in the background. So it feels like a house party. Do you know what I mean? And even though I don't drink, we just make a vibe out of it. I don't know exactly how to do it yet, but just like with all the other things, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. It'll be cool to have like the record of the week, like the Afro-Cuban, salsa, whatever it is in the Afro Latinidad that we are working on, as far as in the kitchen is concerned, or culturally in general, we have music that corresponds with that, and that's going on in the background. That's kind of like how I'm envisioning this. So we shall see. Every week is, like I said, it's going to get better. We are in the early stages. This is our third Sunday dinner, and so far we have made papas rellenas, which is the potato filled. I made it with tofu, but it's like beef filled potato, like a potato croquette. And then last week we made mofongo and a hearts of palm, like crab stew to serve it with. Essentially it was fufu and soup, like the Liberians call it, but Puerto Rican. And it was delicious. Like I would make that again in a heartbeat. I think the other thing I would like to do is, once we get down the line and we have I'm not even gonna say we have our memberships, but I feel like once we get down the line with Club Star people, and in a few months time, we can do a live where it's like a meet and greet in different places. And we have Afro chefs from the Afro Latinidad come in and do meals for us. And we have a tasting and just vibe and meet each other in the different cities that you are in. Wouldn't that be fun? See, it's going to be so much fun. So these early stages, they just setting the tone. That's all. Spirit be spiriting. So I also have some, this is parsley. I meant to get cilantro. And I didn't even, I told you my life is lifing. I have stuff that I don't actually need, but I'm going to use it because that's what we do in cowboy cooking. We use materials we have access to. We use the ingredients we have access to. So what I'm doing is and my new thing, this thing that holds my phone, I got a new one so that I can, when I want to show you what's going on my stove, all I have to do is flip it down. See, I told you. We're moving forward little by little. Right now, you just have to look at my face the whole time and imagine how delicious it looks and smells. So I'm gonna brown these mushrooms. I know that mushrooms do give you meat. And I also tried to get like a red cooking wine. They did not have that. They had a rice cooking wine in the international section that's like sweet. And what I was going to do, because this is where my brain was going, what I was gonna do about that was add some like beet juice, because that's what they normally use. Beet juice has like an earthy flavor, and it is a depth of color, and it could be misconstrued as a red wine. But I was like, but do they though? So I decided I'm not going to. I'm just going to use, I don't know if folks use mushrooms. I was going to use tofu, but I've used tofu in a dish for this before, so we're talking about a meaty flavor and texture, and mushrooms are very umami. I decided that mushrooms would be the better bet. So that's what we're vibing with. While the mushrooms are doing what the mushrooms are doing, which is cooking down, I think also because the cooking wine is to deglaze the pan. So I don't know. We're gonna see. In my spirit, because I know what I have. I have some balsamic, like the dark purple vinegar. I'm trying to see, because it gives that red wine fruity kind of situation. I'm trying to see, because what I don't want to do is to be on here and have people who actually make this dish Quimbombó go. But what I also know is, how I said before, I'm one of those people that I use what is in front of me, because that's what it's for. You don't always have to go to the supermarket and get new stuff. If you have stuff that will give the same vibe. Now I am chopping up onions. I'm using a red onion for this because I saw a lady. I watched like 3 different videos of people making this dish. I do not feel more confident because I watched these 3 videos. I do not. But I think it's pretty straightforward. And I also spent a really lot of time looking for a straightforward explanation on the origins of this dish. Everybody that who made this recipe shared some acknowledgement that this is an African dish that was switched up during slavery, colonization, and slavery and such. So that's good. At least the folk know. And as we also discovered last week when we were making the mofongo, is that our African forebears, they knew how to make something with nothing. They knew how to do it. And remember, we had that whole conversation about, you might like to wax poetic about you are not your ancestors, but honey, you wouldn't be here without them. And respect, show some reverence, because they worked out some culinary masterpieces with, I don't even know how to get it. They made culinary masterpieces. So I'm sweating out these mushrooms. I sliced them like mushrooms, hoping that once we get to the stew part, it will give you meat. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking of beef chunks or pork chunks. I do not see that. I use my grandmother's pot. I showed you this before. This is what the mushrooms look like. They look good. I use my grandmother's pot. This pot is like 100 years old. It's probably not that old, but it's probably like 70 years old though. And I like it because I got my grandmother, a part of my grandmother with me when I make these traditional dishes that somebody else's grandmother started. How do you like that, apples? Okay, so it says brown. These mushrooms are not going to brown. I don't feel like mushrooms brown the way. So now it's saying add the peppers, onions, and garlic, which I'm going to do. I have a lot of peppers. I have green, orange, and red. And I have garlic, and I have my red onion, which I'm now adding to this pot. I'm not clear that this this week's Sunday dinner is going to be as daring and what is the word? Last week was a lot. Last week was definitely an adventure. Fungo was like, I said it last week and I mean it. Plants don't care about your plants. They don't care. They don't care. So this recipe doesn't say when the plantain go in and what you're supposed to do about them. So what I think I'm going to do, because this is what my spirit is telling me, because the green plantain are very strong. I think I'm going to boil I do know that for the mofongo, they normally either fry or boil the plantain. So I think when I was walking to the store, I was like, well, you just put the plantain in the thing. But since I am not going to do a whole Puerto Rican fufu episode again, I think what I'm going to do is mix some broth with this water here. I'm here. I'm just filling up my pot with water. So while this is cooking, I think what I'm going to do, I need this to go down. I also need you to know that I do not have a sexy kitchen. I do not. It's on my, we're working with what we have, right? So if you do not have a sexy kitchen, but you think that, first of all, this is not a show. I'm not doing a cooking show. That is not necessarily one of my aspirations. This is home ec. What am I doing? Got it. I can do things. This is like, because I told you I host the Empty McKee Show, which we call Starfolk University, the only on-air school for modern business. I'm using Better Than Bouillon, the no chicken base. And I'm making essentially some chicken broth so that I can boil these plantains. I'm also keeping an eye on, this doesn't ask for not a Nair seasoning yet. And it's confusing. Not Nair seasoning. Not Nair a seasoning. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did with my stew and add a saison. We don't look. Listen, this is the only brand I could find, and I'm gonna use it until it's done, and then I'm gonna find a brand that is not this brand. Okay, we don't use this brand. If you have access to a brand that is not this brand, please use that. But I do like how it says their serving instructions have to do with how many people you're feeding. That is dope. So I added my saison because it does give a delicious flavor. I didn't need to do much of anything else. It was fabulous. Look at this color. Look at this color. You see this color? You see this color? That's fabulous. They didn't say it. Why did I pick a recipe that didn't say anything else either? That don't sound right. So now I'm going to cut up these plantanos. Now I'm going to cut up these plantanos. And too soon. I think last week I was like, green plantain is so easy to, it's so much easier than the yellow. Lies. The lies I told myself. Like I said, and I said it and I meant it. Plantain don't care about your plants. Oh my God. Now I understand why folks roast this. I'm glad you can't see it because I cannot have another week in a row where I am arguing with plantain. I cannot allow it. I cannot. Right. I'm gonna try this one. Maybe we only do one instead of two. My knife is too sharp, and it's just like, no, you split it too far. Oh my goodness gracious. Hallelujah. 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 All right, I am actually fighting. Maybe I manifested this because I kept saying plants that don't care about your plants. So I found plants that don't care about my plants. maybe I did this to myself. What if this is answered prayer? What if I just did a master shifu on myself? I talked about on my show, the MV McKee show, aka Star Folk University, the only on-air school for modern mystics. Last week, this past Friday, we talked about the show was called Get In Where You Fit In, and we were talking a little bit about how in Kung Fu Panda, Master Shifu, his story arc is fascinating to me because he was so hell-bent on Tai Lung not getting out of jail, and he was so untrusting of the system that he had put into place for Tai Lung to never be able to get out of jail. He didn't trust his own system so much that he actually sent somebody to mind the business that did not pay him, that actually set what he feared the most into action. You know what I'm saying? I just find that whole story arc fascinating. And I also find it very comforting in that I don't think that Master Shifu was a villain of any sort, but he was the villain in his own story, because if he had minded his own business, Tai Lung would still be in jail. But he could not. So now I put the one plantain that I could get out of its skin in this, in the pot to boil. And I'm really unclear about what's supposed to happen next with this. You're supposed to, it said add tomato sauce, and there are no, I think it was somebody's mama who made this, and I took that recipe. I wanted somebody's mama recipe. So what now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the tomato sauce to these vegetables. I feel like this is gonna go quick. I'm boiling my plantains. I'm gonna add me some tomato sauce to this vegetable mixture. I know it's gonna be good because everything that I've had so far has been utterly delicious. Like otherworldly delicious. Just beyond. I think you're supposed to eat this with rice. And it would make sense if you were actually using the plantain as fufu, if you're making the mofongo, it would make sense if you would eat this with the mofongo, because feel like this is going to be a stew. But I feel like the Cubans were like, no, eat it with rice and make the mofongo as dumplings, because why not? I saw this one lady, she put cumin and garlic pepper and not garlic pepper, garlic powder and onion powder. She put all the things in it, and I'm a little worried not to, but I also know that based on last time, I didn't need that much of anything. Like, it was very well seasoned. And maybe I have a baby mouth. I don't know. I feel like I can handle seasoning because I season my food very well. But now I don't know. It's like, I don't need everything to be spicy, just flavorful. Not just flavorful. You know what I mean. I'm going to add this chopped parsley in here so it doesn't go to waste. I know it's not cilantro, and I know it's not what it's supposed to be. Not cilantro, the other one. See. You know what I'm talking about. If you cook Puerto Rican food, you know what I'm talking about. It's like cilantro. It gives you cilantro, but it's not called cilantro. It's called something else. It also begins with a C. Okay. So this is giving very stew. And this is where you're supposed to add the wine. This is definitely a fusion. How many? Oh, and it smells like wine. Okay. 1/2 glass of wine. Since we get this is cooking wine. It smells like wine. This is rice cooking wine. Okay. I usually don't. I don't drink, so I usually don't care about the smell of it, but it smells wonderful. Could I be changing my mind? Could I be liking the smell of wine? I can't drink it still. My stomach still don't care. I could think it smells good, but all right. I don't know what this texture is supposed to be. Are you supposed to put anything in it? Maybe I'll add the chow. This is what happens when you are cooking blind. I'm going to add some of this broth to this. I should have watched. I have not even been good enough to watch when people like taste it, so I know what it's supposed to look like. I just look at the recipe and go, okay. Because I want it to be. I told you the first time I did this when I was making the papas rellenas. I had practiced it before, and so I was on here like, I don't want it to be like that because everybody is not doing that. I want it to feel like we are like home ec, like we are doing something together. We're learning something new together. And it doesn't matter if you are watching it live or you're watching it a week from now or you're watching this 10 years from now. What matters to me is that if you feel like you want to feel like you are, you want to try something new, the recipe is up at on the last week of Wednesday's episode on patreon.com MV McKee. Patreon.com MV McKee. Hold on. Okay. Interesting. 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 Okay, I can see where the wine is for. Right, I feel like these plantain are complete. So they look a little angry. And it's got a nice stew texture. I want not only the plantain, but I want some of this broth in here too. So all I'm doing right now is adding the plantain to this. And I think maybe I should have waited to add the plantain. Because I still have to put the okra in. Hold on. This is okra stew. Let me hold my own mule. All right. Listen, if I were hosting an actual dinner party and you were actually in my house, I would tell you if I was doing this. So yes, I am taking the plantain that I just put in out. And I'm going to put the okra in. I feel like we're almost done. I feel like, should I make rice? So I have time to make rice. I don't have like a whole lot of all right. So I'm adding the okra in now. There's a lot of okra. And it's been soaking for a minute, so it shouldn't have the mucosisness that okra can have. Mucilage. This looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I should make rice. That's what I feel like. I'm gonna leave yeah, I feel like I should make rice. All right. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. Hi, Empress Naima is in the building. How you doing, girl? Okay. So I want to show you what it looks like with the okra. You see it? It looks pretty and colorful. And it's got a nice, look at that texture of the broth. You see that? That's pretty good. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty good. I'm going to taste it. It tastes good. Should I make rice? What is my spirit telling me to do? Now I see where it's asking for a little. Once you start adding ingredients, the seasonings start to spread out. So this is where I'm going to add a little garlic and onion powder. Yes, I'm putting Tony's because that's what I have, because I don't have Empress Naima's seasoning yet. If you recall, most of these dishes are really just a hodgepodge of flavors from all over the place. So I'm just saying. All right, so now I want to taste and see. I probably should add some more. I added Tony, so maybe. Yeah, the Tony is added. I don't want it to be salty. I'm very clear that sometimes we get ahead of things and we make them too salty, and I don't want to do that. Not today. So I'm waiting for this to get back up to a boil, and then I'm going to add my plantain. And that, well, this is supposed to cook for 20 minutes, so I'm gonna turn this up a little. All right. Quimbombó. So for those of you who are just tuning in, Quimbombó cubano is a traditional Cuban okra stew. Its origin is from West Africa, like many Cuban classics. It usually has pieces of pork, chicken, or beef can be added. And what they do is they soak the okra. I think in traditional okra stew, they like how the okra has the mucilage in it, and it's supposed to have that. but the Cubano one, for the most part, they soak the okra in vinegar or citrus to lessen or eradicate it. The okra was soaking for a while, and this is also frozen okra that I got from a supermarket. So you see, you can make these things with the things you have on hand. You don't have to order it from any place crazy. And if they don't have it on hand, if you go to an Asian market, you know they have okra at Asian markets. If you go to an Indian market, a cash and carry, you know they got okra in there. So there's this place when I lived in PA called Produce Junction. Produce Junction always has fresh okra. Always. There's a very strong community of East Indians there. And Pakistanis and from name it. And they always have okra on hand. And so I get my okra there to do my okra baths. I don't really cook with okra. I'll say that I have made like a battered okra. I use my okra for okra baths for ceremony, that kind of thing, but not really. I have not, I'm gonna say it this way. I have not really cooked with okra. And this is a first for me. Not to say I like okra. I will eat okra raw. When I grew okra during the pandemic, and I had okra growing in my garden, it never made it to the inside of the house. And I grew a lot. This is good. It has I think it's from the wine. It still has a little tendril of mucilage. As you can see, just a little tendril, but it's not overwhelming. It's delicious. This is really good. Okay, I'm not going to make rice because I'm not going to eat rice, and whenever I make rice, it goes to waste. So I don't want this. I said I was going to let it boil. So that's what I'm going to add the plantain now. Letting some of the broth get on in there too, because why not? I'm not going to put all of it because I don't want this to be too watery. I'm really enjoying this texture of this stew. Oh, look at it now. Look at it now. So can you see it? I feel like you can't see it, but that's okay. Next week, I got my new joint. So all I have to do is flip it down. You can look and see. And I should probably get one of the things that are around my neck too for when I can do multi-camera. So what I think I told you earlier is that there is a version of this where they pound the plantain like mofongo. They make a mofongo, but instead of making a ball for the soup to go on, they make little balls like a dumpling, and they put it in the soup. So like a Cuban wedding soup, if that would be a thing. But this looks like an African okra stew, if I am remembering it correctly. Sans the meat. It looks delicious. Very excited to try this. So I'm gonna turn this down and off, and I'm going to get a bowl. I'm gonna get a bowl because I think this is done. I want to let the plantain though do something. You know what I mean? Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. I don't know. Doesn't it look good? It looks fabulous. I'm going to give it one more minute so that the plantain can be in the sauce, the stew a little longer. And so, I can tell you, for those of you, my Sunday dinner people. So we have our trip. It is going to be in December. And I am working with I'm not even gonna say that. I'm gonna keep it until I keep it. But the company that we are in alignment with. I'm gonna say it that way. It's very sexy. It is going to be a cruise, and I'm very excited about it. So keep in mind, it's like December something, December 4th or some such. And check the space, the patreon.com/envymckey space for more details. It will be coming up soon. We're going to announce very soon. And it should be, we're calling it a class trip. And I'm not doing this to make any money off of it at all. This is really just for us to be able to, just like with the Sunday, the get together and do Sunday dinners with the chef situation. That's for us to find ways to be in community wherever we are in the country. And that's also motivation for us to invite our friends and to practice our Spanish, because I would love for those Sunday dinner sessions to be immersive Spanish of all levels. And I really have some really dope ideas. So if you have not yet joined Club Star People, now is the time. Go to patreon.com/envymckey. That's patreon.com/envymckey. And we're calling these class dues, we're calling these membership dues. What you can't, but it's not cost prohibitive. So did I say it right? Yeah, that's right. So if you don't have it, that's okay. Those of us who do, that's what equity is about. Those of us who do, we got you. So whatever you feel like you can comfortably circulate as far as member club dues, please do so, because you're going to be helping somebody else be able to come to some of the things as well. And that's how we vibe. Everybody don't have all the things all the time, but everybody got something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to serve this and taste it because I think it's time. I don't want to overcook it. And I want you to be able to see how beautiful this is. Hold on. You see it? Isn't she pretty? That is gorgeous. And that is okra and sofrito, which is red with peppers and onions and garlic. And there's some plantain in there. My base for the umami was mushrooms. And I know some of y'all gonna say some things, but it's fine. It's fine. I use what I have access to. I did not want to use the boo-boo sausage from the store because it's not even real food. You know what I mean? It's not even real food. Why would I do that? So now I'm going to taste it. I'll bring it closer so I can taste it. This is hot. I'm not serving it with rice. There is a starch in it already, and that's the plantain. Do I have any plantain in here? Oh, don't play with me. I want some plantain. I want some plantains. Come on. All right, so I got my plantain. I got my okra. Hold on. Ready? Oh, let me bless it. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this meal. I'm grateful for the hands that prepared it. I'm grateful for the hands that made it possible for these hands to prepare this. I'm grateful for the hands that reach all the way back to the very first hands that made this meal possible. Because we are all this one thing that is all things, and I am so grateful to be able to chew. And so it is. Amen. All right. Ready? Ready? It's very hot. Yes. It has a tangy taste, almost vinegary. And maybe that's because of the wine. I want to taste a piece of the plantain. And the plantain in this tastes like potato. Now, I think if I make this again, I will actually make the mofongo dumplings, because what I really enjoyed about the mofongo was that it was very flavorful. And I get it, it's Puerto Rican fufu, that's what they call it. But for me, fufu doesn't really have any flavor. It's for me, fufu represents like a blank slate for whatever the dish you're serving is. That's how I took it. But mofongo, and I think I'm not going to say that that's not the intention for this also, but it has garlic in it. And even though it's not like 10 cloves of garlic, it is 4. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe my garlic was just extra, but the garlic is very pronounced in the mofongo. And the salt, it's not that much salt, but somehow, and I'm a salt person more than I'm a sweet. So somehow, and maybe because I was using like kosher salt, the coarse salt, and coarse salt, depending on the brand, can be very strong, but it was very well seasoned. And I feel like that would add, whereas this plain boiled plantain, and I boiled it in broth, which has a seasoning to it, it doesn't taste like it in here. It tastes like a potato that hasn't been, but the rest of the stew is very flavorful, so I understand where it goes. It tastes good. And I would like to try this, having made the garlicky dumpling, mofongo dumpling, and see how far that goes. The mushrooms are not bothering me. They are not bothering me at all. I don't know if I need to, I don't know how much the mushrooms are doing as far as flavor. The texture is okay, but I don't know. We might could do the same thing with the mushrooms, but grind them up more, like pulse them more, so that they just blend into the stew, so that you don't have these, these are the mushroom pieces. Okay. So this was an experiment. That's why we're calling it home ec. We started calling it Sunday dinner. Maybe we call this version home ec, because we in here experimenting in the kitchen with Afro Latinidad dishes, right? Because we're learning culture on Wednesdays for Spanish Club. We are learning the language. We're learning how to learn the language. We are handling our club business. And on Sunday, we come in the kitchen, we vibe. You get the recipe on Wednesday, so you can get your ingredients. And then we in the kitchen doing what we do on Sunday. And you can feed your family in the process, because this is not a waste time. You know what I mean? I'm cooking for one at this juncture, but I have my meal prep for the rest of the week. You see what I'm saying? So this was good. Last week, I felt like this went long because I was struggling with the mofongo. This week, it went super smooth, even though I'm still not clear that I made what I think I made. If I had somebody that was Cuban that could come and taste and be like, oh, yeah, that's Quimbombó. Or they're like, no, sis, that is not. And I would be okay with it. But this is some version. And just remember, the foods like this, I know gumbo has more of a process. These are like staple foods. Like everybody's family has a different version of this, because I saw at least 5 different recipes and they were all different. So it's like whatever you have on hand. This is cowboy cooking for the Afro Latinidad diaspora. It's called Quimbombó. We made Quimbombó. So congratulations. I'm going to head on out of here. Like I said, if you want to join Club Star people, please go to envymckeeshow.com. Well, I mean, you can, but go to patreon.com/envymckee. It is free $99 to join. envymckeeshow.com. I keep saying that. Go to envymckeeshow.com if you really want to go. But then also, if you want to join Club Star people, where there is going to be a place for you to be able to do that on envymckeeshow.com. Patreon.com/envymckee. 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 That's how you join Club Star people. We're here every Wednesday for our Spanish Club meeting. And we're here every Sunday for Sunday dinner. Home ec. Home ec. This is home ec. And our get-togethers will be Sunday dinner. Maybe. All right. I love you. Vine Heil. I see. Oh, maybe I should say, what is it? Adios. Adios. Adios.
Ay, los gitanos sí tienen sabor.
I wanted a Spanish club, so I'm making a Spanish club. And I want to learn about Afro-Puerto Rican culture. I want to learn about bamba. I want to learn about salsa. I want to go to Puerto Rico. I want to go to the Dominican Republic. I want to go to all the places, and I want to be fluent in Spanish. And so if you want to be fluent in Spanish, this is the club for you. There'll be elements that you have to do yourself. Like I said, I'm using Pimsleur. You can use Pimsleur. If you don't want to use Pimsleur, you can use whatever you want, because I'm not over your shoulder helping you practice. I like Pimsleur because it's 30 minutes a day. And this is not an ad. It's 30 minutes a day, 30 days in a month. And then you finish Spanish 1. And then we move on to Spanish 2. So in 4 months' time, we'll be ready for Bad Bunny. In 5 months' time, we'll be ready for Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Again, the next element of this is working out. If you don't want to work out, you don't have to work out. But I personally want to look and feel my best for these trips that we're going on in 2026 to all these Spanish-speaking places. And I want to look great for the cameras and all the things. So I'm working out. Again, you can go to patreon.com, MV McKee, and you can read about Club Star people. And all the things that I talked about in this video are highlighted in a physical document that you can read at your leisure.
Le dan el sabor y los gitanos le dan el sabor.